Hello. Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming for this session. I hope you are enjoying lunch as well. So it's lunch and a show, I guess. Anyway, so we're going to talk about social TV, and we have Danny Bolivar from Discovery Networks here with us, and we're going to show a case study of some of the work that we've done. Facebook was supposed to be here with us, but they could not be here at this time. So we're going to present without them. So I am going to share with you first some statistics about social TV in the US, Latin America, and make a case about what is happening with the convergence between mobile devices and TV. I am very excited to have seen what's going on today at Festival of Media. Presentations like yours, Victor, like talking about what Venevisión is doing in social TV. Last year at Festival of Media, we didn't see any of that, so I am very excited that the industry is moving in this direction. So since we don't have a lot of time, I'll just go through a few of the slides. You just... Oh, that's the last slide. You have to go to the first one. Okay, thank you for that. So we know that in the US, about 60% of people that are watching TV are connected to an internet device at the same time. Whether it's an iPad, Android device, iPhone, whatever they have on their hands, they are not just watching TV. They are interacting, they are buying stuff, or they are answering emails, doing status updates on Facebook. So obviously we're in Festival of Media Latam, so to put that into perspective, we have similar data from Ibope in Brazil, and we know that 43% of internet users, and keep in mind, like internet penetration in Brazil is not what it is in the US, about 33% internet penetration. So 43% of that 33% that is online are watching TV while they are online, and this is a similar statistic. So we also know that 29% of that 43% also comments about the shows that they are watching while the shows are going on. And that obviously creates viral loops of people that are talking about the shows that they are watching. Friends see that and perhaps they tune in. And we'll see more about that in a second. So we know that we live in a multi-screen world. This is some data that Google released about 2 weeks ago. And Adriana Norteña was talking about this on stage earlier today. But we know that people are multitasking and that it's not just that they are consuming media in different devices, there is a convergence of their consumption of media in different devices at the same time. So the social TV space is exploding. And just to put this into perspective, the same way that here at Festival of Media, we have seen this surge of discussions around social TV and the convergence of social networks and traditional broadcast media. We're seeing that in more of the startup space. So a year ago, there was only a handful of startups working in the social TV space. And now there's about 85 companies that we've been able to identify in the US. There's companies in Latam like Compar TV, which is presenting here tomorrow, that are also doing very interesting things. But most of the innovation that we are seeing in Latam on social TV is happening at the networks level. So it's networks that are actually innovating and pushing the envelope and taking it to the next level. So we know that people are using second screen devices at the same time that they are watching TV. So why is social TV important to all of us? So we have this data from TV Guide that they released earlier this year, that about 71% of people have seen impressions, social impressions, about a show. So a friend shares a show on Facebook or tweets about the show or something like that. But more importantly, I mean, we all have seen those, right? But 17%, according to this study, have started watching a show because a social impression. And that is just natural behavior. You see a friend that is watching the newsroom, you start seeing that across your social graph, and all of a sudden you start thinking, hey, maybe this is a show that I should be watching as well. And that is just human behavior. So all of these, takes us to further data that we get from Nielsen that says that an increase of 9% in social buzz represents a 1% increase in ratings for a show. Now that data is a little bit fuzzy because it also depends on the volume of social buzz that the show had to begin with. And that's data that we've been going back to Nielsen trying to figure out how do we apply this metric to different shows. So we wanted to capitalize in this movement, and we've seen all these second screen experiences out there, and our perspective is that a lot of them do not have the critical mass to move the needle for the business, for the marketers, or for the TV networks. So we started thinking about how can we turn clicks and social engagement into GRPs, gross rating points. How can we truly leverage what's already happening and amplify it in a way that can actually move the needle in terms of ratings. And our solution for that, we created a platform that we call Social Shows. A few networks are using our platform already. Discovery is obviously one of them, and actually the first one, the first believer in this idea that this would work. And you'll see later in the case study, we launched in Romania, then in the UK, then in Mexico, and now we're expanding throughout Latin America with this venture. So Social Shows, we built this platform that it's more than a second screen experience. We are Facebook Marketing API partners. So for the last year and a half, we've had this access. About 40 companies in the world have access to the Facebook Marketing API. We're lucky to be one of them. And for the last year, we've been thinking, what do we do with this amazing access to the API? So you'll see what the platform does, but it's definitely more than a second screen experience. It's designed to drive tuning and hopefully ratings, also to get viewers to interact before, during, and after the show, also maximize the value of earned media. And I guess last, but probably most important, it's designed to work together with advertisers. And you'll see some of the integrations that we're doing with some global brands already. So let's say this is your audience, and this is where it gets really interesting. So let's say this is the audience of a TV network tonight at 8 p.m. So this is 100% of that network's audience. If that network is here in the US, we know that about 60% of the people that are watching TV during prime time are also with a connected device, but they're not necessarily talking about the show. They're not necessarily on a second screen device that has an app for Bravo or for NBC, they're just online at the same time that they are watching. But we also know that about 15% of those are on Facebook concurrently at the same time that they are watching TV. And we all see that, in a focus group of one, at 9 p.m., I am watching TV, I am answering status updates, I'm seeing what my friends are doing, and the same happens in my household across everyone else. So if you're a TV network and you want to reach that 15% that is also concurrently on Facebook, well, you could say, well, we have an on-air promo, and everyone that is watching our air will see it. And that's obviously one way that you get to them, but you're actually getting to the echo chamber of people that are already watching TV. You're not expanding that, you're not going beyond that. If you wanted to go beyond that, I guess you could do targeting in Facebook for fans of that particular show, or you could target people with similar interests, and you could get them to tune in, but still it would be within the echo chamber of people that are already engaged with your show, if they are fans or so forth. So what we've done is we've been thinking beyond that and thinking about the universe of other networks that have a very similar pie chart, and how can we target audiences in a smart way and basically steal audiences from one network to the other and actually attract an audience. And it's very effective, because when you think about it in terms of your marketing investment, would you rather invest in a billboard that people will see it at 7 a.m. when they're driving to work, or would you invest in a medium that people are concurrently engaged with at the same time that they are watching TV and get them to tune in? So it's a closer and more direct line in terms of getting people to tune in. So this is what the platform looks like, and tomorrow we're going to do a demo on the main stage of the ad platform. So it's built on top of the Facebook Marketing API. And basically, I don't know if you can see that from where you're sitting, but basically it allows us to create campaigns that it's almost like a storyline, a flight plan, that it leads all the way to airtime. And because we have access to the Facebook API, we don't go through the approval process that most other Facebook campaigns go through. It's whitelisted, therefore we can create ads that will go live within minutes of the show being on air. So we can do things like this, like in less than 1 hour, tune in to the premiere of this show. So that's kind of what we have built. So that allows us to create storylines like this, where we have a week prior to the premiere, we have certain ads, with a call to action to tune in, and also to engage in the second screen experience. The day before the show, we have, like it starts tomorrow. Then obviously the day of the premiere, we leverage the fan page of that particular show or network, and then we have a promoted post that looks something like this. It has the play button, and you can click through and go directly to the app and watch the video, and then like in less than 1 hour. And so that type of granularity allows us to target people that may be online, on Facebook, socializing, and at the same time watching TV. And then obviously when the show goes on air, we have ads that say basically this has started, come participate and join the conversation, stuff like that. So I guess this is best presented, what happens after the ads is best presented with the case study that we're going to show from Discovery. So like I said, Danny believed in us, about a year ago when we started talking about social TV. And so we built this platform in many ways around the needs of Discovery, and basically this is what we came up with. Right now it's called Discovery Social, so it's branded Discovery, and this allows the Discovery ad sales team to go out to market and sell social, which is something that it's difficult for a TV network to do. You're selling ads, you're selling banners on your .com, and all of that is great. But advertisers, as we know nowadays, we want to buy engagement. We want to buy something that will get us closer to our audience and get them to engage, get them to share. So, and that's basically what the platform does. So it's a social TV platform that lives at the intersection between broadcast and social media, and it's basically designed not only to increase ratings, and to increase engagement, but it's also more than anything designed to engage advertisers and create a compelling proposal for them. So we obviously increase engagement throughout the experiences that we've had. By the way, the second screen experience is a Facebook mobile app. So it's an app that runs on the full browser experience on Facebook. It also runs on the mobile experience on Facebook. And the reason why we decided to do that and not create a native mobile app is that the conversion rate of getting people to download another app into your iPhone or into your iPad is a tall order. It's something that it's going to require a lot. Here, you just click through and you're inside the experience. Obviously, you have to allow the Facebook app once. But after that, you're inside the app. It runs on iPad, runs on Android, runs on smaller devices, BlackBerry not so much, and so forth, But that's kind of and obviously it runs in a full browser. And we've gone through the pains of testing it in all browsers to make sure that it does work. So how it works. So we're thinking of the during the show experience and also the post-show experience. So prior to the show, we have a clip of the upcoming episode, and you'll see that in a second. We have a way for users to get a reminder, because obviously we're trying to drive tuning, we're trying to drive engagement around a show, but we want to get people that maybe saw this a day before, a week before, and engage them to the point that they will set a reminder so that 15 minutes prior to the show starting, we will send them a text message, we will send them a Facebook notification and an email to make sure that we get them to tune in. So and that happens to all of us all the time. I mean, I wanted to watch something last night and I forgot I was working on this presentation. So, but if I had gotten a text message saying the show that you wanted to watch is now on, maybe I would have watched that. So, and not worked on the presentation. So So, you can invite your friends to do some co-viewing, and some appointment viewing. And obviously there's a lot of social buzz in this case, in the Discovery fan pages and so forth. And then during the show, we have a live chat, sometimes with people that are hosts of the show. We just did that in the UK with a lot of success. So one of the hosts of the show was actually participating in the chat, and that worked out really, really well. And then after the show, we have a survey, and we have more engagement around the upcoming episode or some other show, and we take them back to the .com, because obviously all of this lives inside Facebook, which is very convenient for the user that is already inside Facebook, but ultimately we want to bring them back to our real estate where we can continue to commercialize, their presence there. So we're inviting friends, and making this a social experience is very important for us. We call them viewing parties, and it's turning out to be that way. Like when you have a few thousand people talking around the show at the same time, it seems like a viewing party. So this is the app, and I'll just walk you through the anatomy of the app. It's no different than other Facebook apps, but it's well crafted to be very ergonomic for users. So basically you have your friends at the top, and you can see what shows their activity, what shows they have liked, like what they are doing. And then you also have a video, an upcoming video of the upcoming episode, and this is prior to the show. You have a remind me button, and you have the timer of when the show is going to go live. And actually, it's funny because this particular show that we are showing here, it's going to be on air tomorrow night. So if you go to the Discovery fan page and you go to the app, you can see that there's 1 day and 6 hours remaining for this particular show. And there's also engagement from Discovery and from their community managers and actual fans of the show. You can obviously invite your friends. And then you have a chat, and we've spent a lot of time thinking about how a chat around a TV show should work. Obviously you're inside Facebook, so it's important to include your friends. It's important to highlight what your friends are saying. So it's not just like a Twitter feed where everyone is broadcasting what is going on. Although we do have Twitter integration, and you can see all the tweets relevant to that particular show or network. But then you have in the left side, you have comments from the brand, comments from the network, comments from a host of the show, like one of the hosts of the show. And also the messages that are highlighted by the network have this little highlight button, and they pop up to everyone in a way that makes it evident that it's almost like a retweet, right? Like it's the network acknowledging that the post that you made is significant enough for them to highlight it. And also messages that appear on air, and you'll see that in a second, are also highlighted inside the chat for other people that are in the chat. So during the show, users can check in, and you can see that the interface changes a little bit. So it's the same URL, the same application. It's just that while the show is on the air, we want to make sure that people can check in and make a social post around that, and that they can continue inviting their friends and start interacting in the chat. They can also click here to view the preview video, or they can click on that little eye to find the tuning information in case they are in a country where they don't know the channel or something like that. And they need to find. This is obviously when you're inviting your friends. And here you can see the advertisement. So let me just do that again. So, and then the messages that appear on air, we have this lower third that is designed so that messages can be pushed to air, and obviously that goes into network operations, and it requires a little bit of setup with the network, but it's very valuable because when users see their messages on screen, that's the highest social currency that you can get, like just that reward that your messages are appearing on screen, and obviously other people in the chat see that as well. So that's very, very relevant. So we can also promote tweets to the rest of the people that are on the chat. And going back to why we've chosen to build this platform on Facebook, obviously we know that Twitter is extremely important in social TV. There's some stats that around 60% in the US, 60% of all the social TV buzz happens on Twitter. My personal opinion on that is that there's more happening on Facebook than on Twitter. It's just that we cannot get to it. So if you think about it, Facebook has nine times more users than Twitter does. It also has even more activity than that, than Twitter does in terms of usage. So I see Twitter as obviously part of the conversation, as a thermometer, as a barometer of what's going on around shows, but there's also a lot more that is going on inside Facebook. It's just that you can only see it in the perspective of you and your friends. It's in those silos of you and your friends. You cannot aggregate all the data like you can do on Twitter. So, and then obviously there is what we do on the fan page to promote this activity, and obviously Discovery is lucky to have a lot of fans in LATAM and in the rest of the world for their shows and for the network, so they can leverage that. And obviously we have a custom tab that leads directly into the application and pin posts that direct users to the application. So that's the case study, and Danny and I wanted to make ourselves available to answer questions if you guys have any questions at this point. So, nothing? Oh. In the fan page or in the app itself? In the app. So, yes, how much traffic we get inside the app. It's in the thousands of users. I should not disclose, specific information about this particular case study, but it's enough for the network to put more emphasis in continuing doing these launches internationally. Danny runs social media internationally for Discovery, so we get the joy of having to deal with people in Romania and Italy now, and so it's very. So but it's in the thousands, concurrent users inside the application, and obviously all the viral loops that you get from that as well. Yes. Where are the sponsors? The sponsors? So what we're doing is we're going to the ad sales teams. We are presenting the platform to them, and then they are responsible to go to potential sponsors and sell this, so the example that we were showing that is an actual sponsor, Jeep, for that show. In the US, it's called One Car Too Far. In Latin America, it's called Aventura 4x4. So you can imagine, the connection between Jeep and that particular show is perfect, so that is a perfect example of a sponsorship. Yeah. ¿Vendes más? O sea, mi opinión, es ir a donde un network donde antes no podías vender social y ir con un ofrecimiento que envuelve social. Y decir.
Entiendo que el valor debería ser mayor, pero finalmente te cogen más plata o venden lo mismo o venden menos.
La verdad es que Discovery no nos ha querido decir cuánto dinero Jeep nos está pagando, pero pero entiendo que es sustancial, obviamente. Porque es más que simplemente impresiones, es un sponsorship, es algo mayor, que simplemente comprar ads, como normalmente los compramos CPM, CPC. Sí.
Sé que Facebook es un poquito complicado en términos de advertising, ad placement dentro de la plataforma. En este caso, ¿tiene que haber algún tipo de rev share on stream entre Discovery y Jeep que pueda anunciar? ¿O el revenue va todo a Discovery?
¿Me escuchan?
Pues, Dani.
¿Se escucha? Sí. Ok. Bueno, en este caso, y para responder también la otra pregunta, no es un added value.
¿ok? Es adicional a la compra de televisión y allá tengo a mi colega del departamento de ventas. Y no hay un revenue share para ninguna de estas iniciativas. Esto sería para nosotros el verdadero 360, ¿ok? Es como integramos social media dentro de nuestra programación y nuestra venta ya de televisión, la compra de ese medio. Y el objetivo principal es la amplificación del mensaje o de la campaña o de la misma compra que ya se está haciendo con el programa. Pretty much. Sí. Sí.
Ahora sí.
Sí.
Listo, no importa los valores, no importa si son 100 o
Sí,
10
los
pesos,
números.
no importa, ok. Pero el tema es, antes de vender cosas como social media, vendías un programa, un sponsorship completo de un programa, costaba 10 pesos. Ahora con este social media cuesta de verdad 15. ¿Lo vendes en 15?
Cuesta de verdad 15.
¿Pero lo vendes en
Pero
15?
te lo puede, si volteas atrás, te lo puede responder mejor Milagros, pero...
La idea de social media y todas las plataformas digitales, por lo menos de nuestro lado, no es not to canibalizar el presupuesto, sino tener la oportunidad de crecerlo porque le estamos dando más oportunidades de cómo amplificar el mensaje. Entonces, a un anunciante como Jeep, lo que vamos es, se le crea este programa y crecemos la inversión, crecemos el presupuesto, como dice Gianni, no es un added value. La idea es poder o capturar un nuevo anunciante porque el contenido que le estamos dando es algo que es valioso para él y le permite hacer estas nuevas conexiones o crecer algo que ya está existente.
Entonces, bueno, si tenemos un behavior, o sea, un comportamiento en sí en el consumidor, donde ya sabemos que está viendo televisión mientras está conectado, entonces lo que estamos tratando de hacer como compañía es ser dueños también de ese second screen. Okay, de esa experiencia. Entonces, el objetivo sería que no estén consumiendo otra cosa, sino el mismo contenido de Discovery. ¿Alguna otra pregunta? No, that's very interesting, and that's very tough to define. The reason is, of course, we have to be very clear on the objectives in order to measure the success. I guess the word or the key word for us is engagement, and more about more so than the reach or additional reach, is about that person to be with the show and experience, like I said, the same content for a longer period of time in a much better experience. What's our measure of success, for example? We're taking a look at different impacts. But ATS, so average time spent on the show, it's one of ours. Another success story, or I guess a measure of success, is not the actual people that chat, so the actual traffic of the app, which goes to the gentleman's question, but actually the total reach and amplification of the entire experience throughout that week. So a lot of people, or let's say there's a percentage that participate and actually talk about a show. And there's then a big percentage of people who are listening and just participating in a conversation and more in a passive way. Those are the people that we're interested, that interest us as well.
And last question.
Yes.
How are you dealing with the negative comments? Many times, big companies are really afraid of really opening up the engagement.
Yes, definitely we are afraid. But it all goes back to not all shows are going to be social, or suitable to be to have this experience. We make sure that the show has already buzz. It has positive sentiment. It also fits that. I mean, if we put this kind of experience in a show like Frozen Planet, where the imagery is so important, it's not going to do as well as a show that has this human drama, for example. So it's about already having your basis in order to execute accordingly. And again, we are experimenting and trying to enhance our already, excellent TV experience, because we do believe that watching TV is a social activity since forever. It's been social. And this is just a platform that provides or facilitates for that to happen. Any more questions? All right.
Well, thank you, everyone.